You've probably been told to just talk it out during conflicts, right? But here's the truth. Sometimes talking isn't the answer. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stop talking. With women especially, it can de-escalate arguments, set boundaries, and even make your point without saying a word. The key is knowing how and when to use it, because there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Why silence can be so effective. First off, why does silence work? The answer lies deep in human psychology, where silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a presence all on its own. When you stop talking, the air between you and the other person feels different, almost charged, as if the silence itself is saying something important. This phenomenon is rooted in the human tendency to seek meaning, even in what's left unsaid. Have you ever been in a conversation where silence unexpectedly crept in? That awkward, still moment when neither of you spoke? It's almost impossible not to reflect on what just happened. Did you say something wrong? Did they? Did the dynamic shift without you noticing? That's the kind of silence we're talking about here. And when it comes to women, this reflection can be even more profound. Women are often attuned to emotional undercurrents, and silence creates the perfect space to feel those undercurrents fully. But there's a catch. The effects of silence aren't always instant. Sometimes it takes hours, even days, for the other person to reflect on what was left unsaid. Hold on. Does this mean you just go mute and hope for the best? Not exactly. Let's talk about how to use silence in a way that's constructive, not destructive. The do's of using silence correctly. Choose the right moment. Timing is everything. Don't go silent mid-conversation when someone's pouring their heart out. Instead, use silence when emotions are running high or when the discussion is going in circles. For example, if you're in an argument and it's getting nowhere, pause. Let silence break the cycle of heated words. Pair silence with body language. Silence also doesn't mean you disappear or fade into the background. Hold steady eye contact, offering a calm, grounding energy. A simple nod here and there assures the other person that you're still engaged, even if you're not speaking. It's a thoughtful pause, not a retreat. This kind of silence shows maturity and control, making it clear that you're processing, not shutting down. Actions, after all, often resonate more than words. Let it be temporary silence isn't meant to last forever. It's a pause, a brief interlude, in the symphony of communication. This is why when stretched too long, it morphs into something cold. The trick is knowing when to break it, but we'll dive into that a little later. Now that we know how to do it right, let's cover what not to do. Because trust me, silence can backfire pretty quickly if misused. The don'ts of using silence. You're in the middle of a tense discussion, and instead of escalating things further, you decide to go silent. Sounds like a wise move, right? Well, it can be, but only if handled the right way. Silence, if unexplained, can feel like slamming a door in someone's face. A sudden and jarring action that leaves the other person confused, frustrated, or even hurt. That's why clarity is crucial. Here's another pro tip. Silence isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. If you turn to it for every disagreement, its potency diminishes. Imagine having a favorite song you play constantly. At first, it's soothing, maybe even transformative. But soon it becomes background noise, stripped of its original magic. The same happens with silence. Overusing it turns a once powerful tool into an overdone routine. Instead of fostering understanding, it starts to breed frustration. Finding the right balance is where the art lies. Silence should never be the easy way out or a default response. It works best as a rare and thoughtful pause, like an emphasis in a sentence, signaling there's more to come. When you misuse silence, whether by not explaining it or leaning on it too heavily, instead of fostering connection, it builds walls. Still with me? Good. Because we're about to tackle the million-dollar question. When should you stop being silent and start talking again? Knowing when to break the silence. Once the tension eases and the air feels lighter, that's your cue to re-enter the conversation. Start by acknowledging the silence, not as an awkward gap, but as a deliberate choice. Say something like, "I felt we both needed a moment to think, so now let's talk calmly." This simple act of recognition shows that your silence wasn't avoidance, but a thoughtful move to create space for understanding. When you do re-engage, Shift your focus away from blame and towards finding solutions. Silence may have diffused the tension, but real progress only happens when both parties communicate openly and constructively. Use this time to express your thoughts clearly and listen without interruption. Resist the urge to rehash old grievances or point fingers. It's tempting but counterproductive. Instead, frame the conversation around, how can we move forward from here? This invites collaboration rather than confrontation. Sometimes, the loudest progress happens in silence. If this video resonated with you, don't let the conversation stop here. Take what you've learned and apply it to your relationships. And if you've ever used silence to resolve a conflict, share your story in the comments below. Want more insights like this? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on the next video where we dive even deeper into practical strategies for better relationships. Oh, and turn on those notifications so you're always in the loop.